This is the Troll Patrol. Live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol. Live with the freaking Monday. I hope everybody had a great freaking weekend. I'm not sure about myself. I think I broke myself over the weekend. Did some work around the house. Thought I was going to have a heart attack in my parking lot as I carried pieces of my couch out of this apartment to make room for some new furniture I'm getting this week that I bought with my Biden bucks. Other than that, I can't complain about my weekend. I had these deep fried Oreos. And I guess the deep frying like liquefies the Oreo, so you bite into the crispy breading part, and then you get that liquefied Oreo in the center. Oh my god, it was fantastic. I've never had anything like it in my life. I enjoyed that thoroughly. I went to bed at like 10 o'clock on Saturday night because I was so fucking tired. I had work I had to do. I was supposed to edit some podcasts. Ended up waking up at like 4:30 in the morning on Sunday morning. I remembered, I was like, oh shit, I gotta edit those podcasts. Luckily, I did it 4:30 in the morning. Fine, super happy. Didn't care that, told him I'd have him back to him on Saturday. But it ended up being at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. That's the reason why I don't order food often. Usually I cook, if anybody knows anything about me. I cook. I didn't feel that I could stand up in my kitchen in order to cook on Saturday night because my legs hurt so bad. That's how I ended up with deep fried Oreos and a buffalo chicken sandwich. Sandwich was excellent. So now I saw this on a right wing site and I cracked up because broken clock.
Look at how he steps and look how I step. Watch how I run up ramps and he stumbles down ramps, okay? Come on. Watch how I run up ramps and he stumbles down ramps, okay? Come on.
They got a point there. He did brag about how he could run up ramps.
What's your response to that?
Look at how he steps and look how I step.
That's probably a lesson to all of us not to mock people for what they do, especially not while you're giving an interview, because then when cameras are on you constantly, chances are you're also going to fall up a ramp.
Watch how I run up ramps and he stumbles down ramps, okay?
Come on, man.
Watch how I run up ramps and he stumbles down ramps, okay? Come on.
I mean, I feel sorry for Biden. He had a broken foot or a broken ankle not that long ago. Apparently he still had the boot on, or they put the boot back on him on the plane ride to Atlanta because he had the boot on when he landed. But I mean, I just wanted to point that out, that there was video of Biden making fun of Trump and then saying, watch how I run up ramps. Sir, I don't think you should be running up ramps. You're like 74 or something like that. You shouldn't be running up ramps. 73? Shit. Judge Janine was on with the 5 this morning. This coming off of a interview where she didn't look the best. We're going to watch that interview here in just a second. She was on the 5 earlier today.
Well, it is a mess, but I have to comment on...
We're talking about the border.
For this guy to claim, there's COVID, it's a pandemic, we can't let anybody go down, we got to protect the children. This guy is either disingenuous or is lying, because these children are not...
Oh, so now we don't care about the children. Now protecting the children isn't a valid excuse. Like fucking won't somebody please think of the children from The Simpsons is mocking people exactly like Janine Pirro.
Are not even being tested for COVID. In addition to that, for him to say that, we're working on it, these kids are in lucite cages with some kind of, a blanket that's made of foil. And the bottom line is that they're now being sent into the interior, but they're being kept longer than 72 hours, which is outside.
And one of the things that came out today is that the Biden administration is going to be looking at sending them from the southern border to the northern border. We're actually taxing them via plane to the Canadian border, where they actually have facilities where they can hold them and process them faster because of the backup on the southern border.
Requirements, 2,000 kept longer than 72 hours, 800 kept longer than 10 days. They're not following any of the guidelines, everything they complained about when...
Oh my God, did you see the ad for Greg Gutfeld's got his new show premiering here shortly? I guess it's going to be like because he's a comedian. It's going to be like a late night show on Fox. Cancel culture gets canceled. Gutfeld. It also looks like Garfield. That's the lettering he's got here. Weeknights, 11 p.m. Coming in 2 weeks.
They're not following any of the guidelines, everything they complained about when the President Trump was in office, they're doing, but they're trying to hide it from us. They're trying to say, don't believe your lying eyes, we're telling the truth. They're not telling the truth, they're lying. And when I talked to Border Patrol when I was down there, they said...
Now, while I'm skeptical of the Biden administration on immigration issues, I ain't listening to who's a liar and who's not from Judge Janine Pirro. Sorry.
That it's a nightmare, that they are the ones who are being subjected to COVID, that they don't even feel the Border Patrol and the sheriffs like they're part of America anymore. People in the southern towns that border Mexico,
they don't
even matter to the United States.
They don't seem like they love America. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. Talk about the Border Patrol agents.
Infected, that they can be harmed, that the cartels are coming in. No one is protecting them. It is a nightmare.
So, interesting story about the Border Patrol agents that we're going to get into here in just a second. But this is Judge Janine, and I actually was surprised when I went looking for the video, and Judge Janine herself tweeted this out. I don't believe this interview goes too well for her.
Dismantling President Trump's border policies on day one of his administration. And now a record number of illegals are flooding into this country. Here to discuss this reckless new approach is immigration attorney and Biden transition advisor David Leopold. David, thanks so much for being with us on Justice Tonight. You recently said
Justice Tonight.
that currently the unaccompanied minors are not being met with the cruelty that they were being met with in cages like they were during the Trump administration. What do you base that on?
And cruelty. But look, let's talk about that for a second. One thing that the Trump administration showed us, that with its cruelty and with its outlandish treatment of children, with its kidnapping of kids at the borders, with its separation, with its treatment of people.
Now, we are on watch for Billy Boy. Billy Boy could call in at any minute. He's been arguing with me all day. He's been up in my DMs. I invited him on the show, and apparently, hold on, I forgot about this. I forgot to bring it up. I'll call tonight after you going to wish I didn't BC. You will lose what little viewers you have. They will know how full of shit you are. By the way, you're not the only one that has a YouTube channel. You know what? Actually, come to think about it. Let's see if we can find this dude's YouTube channel. We'll do some trolling here. Oh shit. I don't see a link to a YouTube channel. It doesn't here. My good friend Billy over here bragging about your YouTube channel, but you don't seem to promote yourself. China Joe and Camel Toe. Yeah. I'm not seeing any YouTube videos. I'm not seeing any links to a shit. Hear about me say. No links to show. Hey, Media Winch. I had this dude talking shit earlier in the day. I was hoping you might have seen some of that conversation. I was hoping he would show up. Because he told me he would call tonight, and I'm going to wish he didn't, because I'll lose what little viewers I have. And apparently he has a YouTube channel. I was trying to find his YouTube channel so we could give it a watch. I can't find a link to anything. That's Billy Hart, eh? Let's go over to YouTube's. Give little Billy a search. Billy Hart. You got a musician by the name of Billy Hart. I don't see any dumbfuck rednecks. But maybe he will bless us with his presence by giving us a call or hopping in the Discord. 917-830-4359 if you'd like to call in. Links to the Discord down in the description. Now, back to this interview with Judge Janine, the immigration lawyer that she had on. I believe this was Friday. She doesn't come across too well in this interview.
To this country. Here to discuss this reckless new approach is immigration attorney and Biden transition advisor David Leopold. David, thanks so much for being with us on Justice Tonight. You know, you recently said that
because all of a sudden, the crisis is, there's a border crisis going on, guys. In case you hadn't heard, right-wingers have been saying it pretty much from January 21st on, that like illegals are just flooding into the country and it's a record number. In case you guys were unaware.
That the
you haven't watched any Fox News here.
Minors are not being met with the cruelty that they were being met with in cages like they were during the
They're
Trump
still being detained too long.
What do you base that on?
And cruelty. But look, let's talk about that for a second. You know, one thing that the Trump administration showed us, that with its cruelty and with its outlandish treatment of children, with its kidnapping of kids at the borders, with its separation, with its treatment of people, of humanity, of kids, they're still coming, Janine. And why are they still coming? They're coming because this is not a Biden issue. This is something that's been going on in ebbs and flows for decades. And in fact, if you want to talk about a surge at the border.
David, what's been going on in ebbs and flows? David, what's ebbs and flows? What are you saying?
Janine, take a look at 2019. You know, everybody's screaming on your show tonight about a surge at the border, but in 2019, there was 150,000 people that came in, much more than what we have today.
I remember them yelling about caravans every time we were coming up on an election.
Number in 15 years. All right, that is a fact. And if you want to go through the cages, I want you to look at a picture of a cage. Just bear with me. Answer my question. This cage with children in it. The date is 2014. That cage was built and used during Obama administration. Obama was putting the kids in cages. And your numbers are wrong, too. That the highest number is because Biden is sending them in.
Janine, just because you say my numbers are wrong doesn't mean they're wrong. and you want to talk about
No,
cruelty,
they're facts. These are the facts.
They're not facts. I mean, very few things that I hear in this show tonight have been facts. You said this evening that the border is open.
Well, David,
That's
let
not
me
true.
ask you something. If you don't think anything's been a fact, let me ask you a question. Now, you say that that people are coming to this country now for a better life. Is that what you believe, and that they all have legitimate asylum claims? Is that correct?
Well, wait a minute.
That's a rather broad brush to paint with. But yeah, a lot of them are fleeing the violence that we caused in South America. A lot of the countries that the CIA decided to do some coups in, or the countries they're fleeing at the moment.
I don't know if you can find a quote of me saying that. What I'm saying, and what I think is...
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
Can I finish?
And that, it's called a loaded question, Judge, and you know that.
People are fleeing horrific violence and cruelty in Central America.
It had assumptions built into the question. So that's why, like, they want to put you on the spot. Well, say this, and this. Do you agree? No. I do not agree with the assumptions that you built into your question.
America. Okay, point one. This is not new.
Well, then,
the problem is that Donald Trump, with all of his chaotic administration, lifted any kind of aid to Central America. He stopped the Central America Minors Program, which was designed to assess the asylum claims of kids in Central America. This is Trump's failure. And
you
what we're
are
seeing now-
so wrong. I'm sorry, you're not entitled to your own facts.
I'm thinking she's got a box of wine under her desk right now. She's a little randy at the moment.
Donald Trump gave money to the Northern Triangle countries to incentivize them to work so that these people would not come to America until their asylum claim was approved. In fact, even
Donald
Mexican
Trump.
President Obrador disagrees with you. He's the one who said that the stemming the flow was only happening with Donald Trump, and that this is a disaster. And he believes that the cartels are coming through Mexico, and now there's a real gang operation going on his border as well.
Janine, look.
Is the president wrong?
Janine, last week, the
David.
Congress passed. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. Congress
Oh, with Mehdi Hassan? Yes.
Unprecedented historic American Rescue Plan, which is going to bring.
Do check out that clip. Look it up. Mehdi Hassan with Dan Crenshaw, who, by the way, I'm glad you brought it up. Just so everyone knows, I would like to piss in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole. Dan Crenshaw was on with Mehdi Hassan over the weekend. And he got owned. Mehdi showed him like it was a 9-month steady increase leading up to this moment, all the way through the Trump administration. But Dan Crenshaw is a little bitch.
Bring money to American households, to people watching this tonight. The Republicans want to talk
Congratulations.
about
What's that got to do with immigration other than burdening the Americans with more taxes? What's that got to do with what we're talking about?
What?
Finish and I'll tell you what that's got to do.
Go right
Janine.
ahead.
Okay. What that's got to do is the fact that this is going to be a very popular piece of legislation. It's historic.
She thinks she's got
And
him.
Republicans don't want the American people to think about it because the Democrats came into power. President Biden kept his promise. He's putting COVID relief out there. He's making America better. He's making America great again.
He is bringing, David, I'm stopping.
He do that if he's making America great again.
On my show. He is bringing COVID into this country after Americans weren't allowed to go to work, go to church, or visit families, or go to funerals. And now he's bringing.
So COVID's real to them whenever immigrants are coming into the country. COVID's real and it's a problem and it's deadly. But only when it's coming from the southern border. They're so transparent. Border Patrol agents are working to sabotage the Biden administration, according to insiders. This is a story out of The Independent. Make it a little bigger. On Monday, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy accused President Joe Biden and his administration of fomenting a crisis along the U.S. border. Biden's abandonment of harsh Trump-era policies had created chaos, McCarthy said to news cameras while joined by a number of his Republican colleagues. Biden had recently gotten rid of policies such as the one which required immigration officials to prevent unaccompanied children from seeking asylum, and the one which allowed immigration officials to arrest and deport undocumented people who attempted to claim underage relatives in the custody of the Department of Health and Human Services. In McCarthy's telling of events, U.S. Border Patrol agents are catching people from such far-flung nations as Iran, Yemen, and Sri Lanka who are attempting to illegally enter the country. Another House Republican, Homeland Security Committee ranking member John Katko went even further, claiming that a number of those caught by Customs and Border Protection officers are on the Department of Homeland Security's terror watch list. We're talking about unaccompanied minors at the border. God damn. But while Republicans and right-wing media outlets are making noise about a Biden border crisis in hopes of inflaming the anti-immigrant base that helped Trump win the White House in 2016, insiders who worked at DHS, Border Patrol, and other executive branch agencies have a different view. These insiders say that many of the allegations being made by House Republicans and some of the problems arising at the border, such as the large number of minors remaining in CBP custody longer than court-ordered and statutory limits, have all the hallmarks of a coordinated push by Border Patrol officers, including the leadership of the Border Patrol's pro-Trump labor union, to undermine the current administration. Now, we've been hearing talks about they're going to release immigrants without their court dates. That's also part of this coordinated campaign. This is a planned, coordinated attempt to sabotage the Biden administration, said Jen Budd, a former Border Patrol agent turned immigrant rights activist who works with the Southern Border Communities Coalition. Budd added that the fact that unaccompanied minors are being kept at Border Patrol stations for extended periods of time appears to be an internal crisis of the agency's own creation. It does not take that long to process children. Budd recounted a time when she approached a border station in 2019 and spoke to agents who were aware that she had been part of the agency but were not aware of her current immigration activism. I asked them why it was taking them so long to process. It didn't take that long, even when I had to handwrite everything back in the day, and they would say, "We're trying to teach them a lesson." So they were intentionally keeping people in there for over 2 weeks at a time in these conditions to punish them. That is the only reason why they were doing that. Budd continued on to say that the same people who were responsible for harsh treatment of migrants during the Trump era are still in charge. They do this on purpose, and none of that has changed, and the management has not changed at all. But the same people who separated families and created the last crisis are doing it again. But it's not just Border Patrol management who are undermining the Biden administration's attempts to roll back Trump-era immigration policies. It's also those in charge of the labor union that represents rank-and-file agents, the National Border Patrol Council. And this is why, the calls to abolish ICE. This is a fucking rogue agency. Along with Border Patrol. While most federal employee unions are traditionally strongly aligned with the Democratic Party, the NBPC did not endorse presidential candidates until 2016, when it threw its weight behind Trump, of course. In return for the endorsement, Trump gave Border Patrol agents a free hand to implement his policies in the harshest way possible. The union's support for the former president subsequently continued through the 2018 and 2020 election cycles, and has since And since he has left office, union officials are now allying themselves against his Democratic successor. Wow. So there you have it. It's a manufactured crisis by right-wingers not in good faith. Nothing with them is in good faith. Just like this motherfucker who knew the law he was signing was unconstitutional. But hey, listen to his reasoning.
Near total abortion ban into law in your state. Under the law, abortions are only permitted when necessary to save the life of a mother. There are no exceptions in cases of rape or incest. And even when you signed it, you said you had reservations about the law, saying that it violates Supreme Court precedent. So to be clear, did you sign this bill because you hope that it'll be a vehicle for the Supreme Court to look at overturning Roe v. Wade?
Yes, that was the whole design
Well,
of
yes.
the law. It is not constitutional under.
Why, yes. Here during the pandemic in one of the poorest states in the country, we're going to try to overturn Supreme Court precedent to win political points with our bigoted base. Why, yes. Well, yes.
Under Supreme Court cases right.
I knew there was a good chance I'm just wasting taxpayer money on lawyers to try to challenge this case.
Yes, that was the whole design of the law. It is not constitutional under Supreme.
I wish she had followed up. Who designed it exactly? Was that an ALEC bill? Was that one of those pre-made bills that they just keep feeding the Republicans from these stupid-ass think tanks?
Court cases right now, and I did prefer a rape and incest exception. I didn't get a vote on that, and so I signed it because it is a direct challenge to Roe versus Wade. That was the intent of it. I think there's a very narrow chance that the Supreme Court will accept that case.
Very narrow chance. He wanted to waste taxpayer money.
Position that the three exceptions would be rape, incest, and the life of the mother.
On a political
This is a,
stunt.
direct
That's the
challenge to Roe
Republican
versus
Party
Wade,
in
and,
the
that's,
United
the
States in
intent of the
2020.
legislation.
Governor Asa Hutchinson, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
And Asa Hutchinson just sounds like a fucking dumb fuck from Arkansas's name. Speaking of dumb fucks, Donald Trump gave an interview. And this quote is astounding. So, Fox News' Lisa Booth interviewed Trump on her new The Truth podcast, where the former president began by blasting the very unfair situation he's dealing with as he remains under multiple investigations. So this is Trump speaking here. We had a great election and we won and they took it away. It was a rigged election because, as you know, we won the first one, but we did much better in the second one. So people always say, oh, what do you mean you did better? I say, we did much better, almost 75 million votes. And that's the votes that we know about. The votes that we know about. And it was a really terrible thing. Trump then went off on Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell for not doing more to help him fight Section 230 while he was in office. None of this drew any pushback from Booth. Both of these remarks from Trump come less than 3 months after his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol in a violent attempt to stop Congress from certifying the results. The interview went on with Trump trashing Biden while praising himself for his handling of immigration issues at the U.S. southern border. This was mostly an extension of his latest press statement, where he slammed Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro, I do not know how to say his last name, Mayorkas, as pathetic and clueless. Trump is also making news by backing a challenger to Brad Raffensperger. In Georgia, the former president endorsed Representative Jody Hice, who supported Trump's effort to overturn the 2020 results against the Georgia Secretary of State. Trump on Monday endorsed Hice in a campaign to unseat the Secretary of State in next year's Republican primary, saying that unlike the incumbent, Jody leads out front with integrity. Because that's exactly what anybody associating with Trump has, is integrity. Sure. Trump publicly seethed about Raffensperger after the November election, when the Secretary of State refused to support Trump's false claims that Georgia's 16 electoral votes were stolen from him. Top Raffensperger aides had publicly rebuked the president's conspiracy theories, warning in early December that it would lead to political violence. Yes, it was indeed on a podcast. And I will send you the link right here. The link to the podcast is in the story. I sent you the story link. But the whole podcast link is in there somewhere. Because I pulled it up to see. It's about 30 minutes long, 20 something minutes, I think. Because I was like, nah, I'm not going to try to scrub through to find the Trump quote out of that. Fuck that. Hice, who first won election to his East Central Georgia seat in 2014, is a staunch Trump ally who supported Trump's effort to overturn the election. The 60-year-old Congress member savaged the Secretary of State in his Monday campaign launch, saying that what Brad Raffensperger did was create cracks in the integrity of our elections, which I wholeheartedly believe individuals took advantage of in 2020. Shortly after Hice's announcement, Trump weighed in with his endorsement. Also making news today in Trump world, he's saying he's going to start his own social media platform. Now, multiple stories asked, would you join his social media platform? And my answer on all the comment sections were, of course. I'm going to follow these dumb fucks wherever they go. I'm like the only person on Parler right now. You post something on Parler and like fucking 50 bots like whatever you post to give you the impression that it's an active and flourishing social network. It's actually incredibly fucking dead. But they did improve the interface a little bit. So take that for what you will. I still post about this show every night on Parler. However, I get hardly any views from it. Whereas before they took Parler down, I was getting easily 60, 70, 80 extra views on a video just for sharing it out on Parler. So it is not active anymore. I doubt a Trump-centric social media network will be anything more than just trying to get your information and get your data and spam shit to you. That's all it's going to be, I promise you. I'm still going to go on it and troll people, though, because I'm a fucking... is it a sadist or a masochist that likes to fucking inflict pain on themselves? Trolling dumb fucks is my kink. I get off on it. But, as I suspected, not even Trump fans care about Trump's social network. This is according to Vice. What does a former U.S. president do when he's been kicked off of mainstream social media platforms? Start his own, apparently. The news that former President Donald Trump was building his own social media business was revealed on Sunday by his advisor, Jason Miller, who told Fox News that his boss would return in 2 to 3 months with his own platform. But word of the major move landed with a thud in most pro-Trump corners of the internet, and the announcement was met with silence, if not outright derision. Now, I will say it got some play on local news media sites. Anything that people will argue in the comment sections on will get play on local news media sites. So don't judge your opinion of things, of how popular or anything about like what is showing up in your Facebook feed. It's weighted towards, more controversial shit. In typical Trump style, the expectations of the new business are nothing if not ambitious. Miller declared that the platform is anticipated to attract tens of millions of new users, which I laugh at. This is something that I think will be the hottest ticket in social media, Miller added. It's going to completely redefine the game, and everybody is going to be waiting and watching to see what President Trump does, but it will be his own platform. So if Trump actually owns it, this is another thing that he's going to fucking bankrupt, right? Everybody knows this. Trump has been silent on social media since Twitter and Facebook kicked him out for the part he played in inciting the Capitol riots. Twitter has banned him permanently, while Facebook has asked its independent oversight board to make a decision about whether to allow Trump back on the platform. Their verdict is expected next month. Since then, Trump has rebuffed repeated efforts by right-wing fringe platforms like Gab and Parler to get him to join. It seems he has set his sights on his own platform, with numerous companies reportedly seeking to build it for him. But Trump's expectations may have to be tempered somewhat if the reaction among his most ardent online supporters is anything to go by. In fact, the most surprising thing about the response among hardcore Trump fans so far is the lack of reaction. On rabidly pro-Trump platforms like Great Awakenings and Patriots.win, the news barely registered, and users preferred to talk about COVID-19 hoaxes and Trump's statement about the border. On the Donald Group in Gab, another pro-Trump platform, there was almost no mention of Trump's new platform. Gab founder Andrew Torba, however, did have his own response to the news with a 5-word statement: best wishes and good luck. Damn. A Republican representative will not be seeking re-election. He says he will now be retiring after a misconduct allegation against him. U.S. Representative Tom Reed, a Republican from Western New York, who was accused last week of rubbing a female lobbyist's back and unhooking her bra without her consent in 2017, apologized to the woman on Sunday and announced that he will not run for re-election next year. Reed, 49, said in a statement that the incident involving then lobbyist Nicolette Davis occurred at a time in my life in which I was struggling. He said he entered treatment that year and realized he was powerless over alcohol. Eric gotta fucking blame something. Reed apologized to his wife and children and to Davis and said he planned to dedicate my time and attention to making amends for my past actions. Reed was first elected to Congress in 2010, part of the Tea Party movement. He had been among the members of Congress calling for the resignation of Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo over sexual harassment allegations. Because of course he was. Now, we watched a video last week about Kevin McCarthy talking about Nancy Pelosi not seating a representative. I believe this is what they were discussing. And that's because of the Pelosi was waiting until the special election in Louisiana. What happened was Julia Letlow's husband died of COVID. He was a anti-masker, dumb fuck Republican who didn't take precautions and caught the COVID and died. Julia Letlow wins a House race in Louisiana to replace her husband. On Saturday, won Louisiana's 5th Congressional District special election, according to the AP. Letlow will now replace her late husband, Representative-elect Luke Letlow, who passed away from COVID-19 in December. He was just 41 years old. She received a resounding endorsement from President Trump, who said she is so outstanding. Letlow's race is not the only special election in 2021 that's been prompted by a member of Congress passing from COVID-19. Rep. Ron Wright in Texas also passed in February from COVID-19. His wife, Susan Wright, is similarly running to take his seat. If you guys ever ate at a Texas Roadhouse, I'm going to be honest with you. For a chain steak restaurant, it's not bad. Texas Roadhouse founder
and CEO Ken
I just
Taylor
said that.
died. He was
I guess we'll watch the
65 years
video.
old. His family tells CNN he died by suicide while dealing with post-COVID related symptoms, including severe tinnitus or ringing in the ears.
Now remember that. Right-wingers always talk about, oh, it's only a 1% death rate, 1% death rate, less than 1% death rate. One, that's not true. Two, that doesn't take into account all the people suffering from long-term consequences from having it. So much so that this dude, a rich motherfucker, the founder of Texas Roadhouse, committed suicide because the recovery was so bad.
They say the problem got worse in his final days. WAVE says Taylor donated his salary from March 2020 through January 2021 to help frontline restaurant employees during the pandemic. Katie Johnston for CBS 11 News.
So there you go. I'll throw some peanuts on the floor in memory. Mr. Taylor. Apparently it's getting a little wild down in Miami for spring break right now, so much so that they're calling a state of emergency. This is what it looks like the partying going on in Miami right now, or over the weekend. Now, I'm a wild and crazy kind of guy. I like to party just as much as the next person. I do not advise doing anything like this. I always say, don't do anything I wouldn't do. What in the world was going on there? We gotta watch that back. They were like getting their groove on in the middle of the crowd or something. Speaking of getting your groove on, you're going to want to stay for the entire show. We got a wild one to end the show with. It has to do with a defiled altar. And a three-way. Hey. Huge crowds of partygoers filled the streets after curfew, oblivious to or contemptuous of Mayor Dan Gelber, who tried putting the brakes on celebrations out of fear it would become a breeding ground for COVID. The good news and the bad. First, the bad. COVID cases in Florida have now topped 2 million. The good news, despite the warnings that opening Florida too early would result in disaster, it hasn't materialized so far. And in fact, the state is doing better than states like New York and California, which have much more rigid COVID restrictions. That's what TMZ says. But now we all know that Governor DeSantis has been cooking the numbers the entire time. It is indeed, it's a very defiled altar. It is a very interesting story. Now, a pastor who said that Jesus was his vaccine has now admitted he got the vaccine. So take it away, John Hagee.
I'm sitting in this chair today as a testimonial to the healing power of Jesus Christ.
Remember. Jesus is a vaccine.
I spent 15 days in a hospital with double pneumonia, and I'm still supposed to be home gasping for air. I'm on this platform speaking of the glory of God, for the healing power of God.
Put that Jesus in your veins.
The authority of Jesus Christ, every sickness and every disease, and especially the COVID thing that's sweeping this nation. We have a vaccine. The name is Jesus Christ.
This COVID thing that's sweeping the nation like it's some new fucking fad. All the kids are doing it.
The Son of the living God. Let him sweep through this country and heal the righteous who dare to ask for it. Heal our church members. Restore them rapidly. Let the name of Jesus Christ.
I wonder how many people in his congregation have died.
He is Lord over all.
That was back in October. His son Matthew said at the time that his father was receiving extremely good medical treatment. When Hagee returned to church in November, no changes were made, reflecting the seriousness of the virus. So they issued a statement to ABC News clarifying his comments. Hagee Ministries later clarified Hagee's comments, saying in a statement to ABC News that the pastor's words were taken out of context. Pastor Hagee himself is taking the vaccine. Pastor Hagee believes in both the power of prayer and modern medicine. These are not mutually exclusive. The H is for fuck you. Oh, shit. Over the weekend, there were several anti-Asian hate rallies. Not anti-Asian hate rallies. Anti-Asian hate rallies. Anti-hate of Asian rallies. Ooh. Asian American woman leaving rally with daughter had sign stolen, punched in face in Manhattan. This happened Sunday morning. The 37-year-old woman, who did not want to be identified, was leaving an Asian American rally in Union Square with her 7-year-old daughter at the time of the attack.
Craving an adventure binge?
No. She sprained her ankle, is on crutches, and still has bruises and lacerations on her face. She says the man approached her and asked her for her sign. She thought he was heading to the rally, so she gave it to him, and that's when she saw him tearing it up and stuffing it in the trash can. When she asked him to stop, he hit her twice in the face, so she chased him. He was destroying the sign and trying to put it in the trash can, so I walked forward and towards him saying, "What are you doing?" And he just came in front of me and punched me in the face. And then I think I stopped for a little bit, and then I chased him. And then there were some people around as well, and I just wanted to get him and call the police. Several Good Samaritans did rush to the woman and child's aid and managed to get cell phone video of the attacker. They said the suspect appeared to be emotionally disturbed. The man reportedly yelled, "I came here to fuck up Asians," around 4:45 p.m. on Sunday. Wow. Okay, this might have been a separate incident. Police say it was the 22nd assault on a member of the Asian community. Over the weekend, a 66-year-old man was punched in Chinatown, and a 54-year-old woman was struck in the face with a metal pipe by a man yelling slurs, who was later apprehended. Actress Sandra Oh was at this Asian rally over the weekend and gave a very impassioned speech.
Can you hear me? Yeah! Hi, my name is Sandra Oh. Pittsburgh, I am so happy and proud to be here with you, and thank you, Jake, and all the organizers for organizing this, just to give us an opportunity to be together and to stand together and to feel each other. For many of us in our community, this is the first time we are even able to voice our fear and our anger, and I really am so grateful for everyone willing to listen. I'm going to be very, very brief. For one thing that I know many of us in our community are very scared, and I understand that. And one way to kind of go through and get through our fear is to to reach out to our communities. Reach out, everyone here. I will challenge everyone here. If you see something, will you help me? If you see one of our sisters and brothers in need, will you help us? And so we must understand.
Who's this brutality? What?
To reach out her hand.
I'm not exactly sure what you mean.
Say, help me, and I'm here. And just for one thing, I am proud to be Asian. I want to hear you say, I am proud to be Asian. I belong here. I belong here. I am proud to be Asian. I am proud to be Asian. I belong here. I belong here. Many of us don't get that chance.
I mean, at least you're bringing up an Asian wrestler.
Give us an opportunity to be able to shout that. Thank you so much.
Kind of disrespectful to Miss Sandra Oh there. I believe it was on Grey's Anatomy. I hadn't heard of her before. That speech went viral. This is something that just, I shouldn't be surprised by it. Of course it happened. I'd never heard of her. That was an excellent speech. Man whose wife died in Atlanta spa was handcuffed and treated like a suspect. His wife died in the shooting spree in Atlanta. The husband who survived the Atlanta spa shootings that killed his wife says cops treat him like a suspect instead of a grieving victim, keeping him handcuffed for hours without telling him his spouse was dead. They had me at the police station for all that time until they investigated who was responsible or what had happened. Mario Gonzalez, of course, said during an interview with the Spanish language news site, Mundo Hispanico, in the end, they told me my wife had died. They knew I was her husband, Gonzalez said. Then they told me she was dead when I wanted to know before. I don't know, maybe because I'm Mexican, he said, because the truth is that they treated me very badly. Gonzalez and his wife, 33-year-old Delana Ashley Yawn, had gone to Young's Asian Massage in the town of Ackworth on Tuesday for a relaxing day and to take a break from raising two young children. He said that he was in a separate room when the gunfire broke out and he fled to safety. His wife never made it out alive. Outside, he said he was handcuffed by police and held for more than 2 hours, with the cops not telling him until the end that his wife had been killed in the slaughter. Another man, Robert Aaron Long, is in custody after confessing to the crime, authorities have said. Insane. And of course, this is the same police department where we saw the conspiracy theories and racist posts from the, I believe he was the information officer for that department, which apparently is not an unusual occurrence. Police officers post to private Facebook groups show hostility and hate. Because of course they do. In a private Facebook group called the Pittsburgh Area Police Break Room, many current and retired officers spent the year criticizing chiefs who took a knee, or officers who marched with Black Lives Matter protesters, whom they called terrorists or thugs. They made transphobic posts and bullied members who supported anti-police brutality protesters or Joe Biden in a forum billed as a place officers can decompress, rant, and share ideas. Many of the deluge of daily posts were jokes about the hardships of being officers, memorials to deceased colleagues, or conversations about training and equipment. But over the group's almost 4-year existence, a few dozen members became more vocal with posts that shifted towards pro-Donald Trump memes and harsh criticism of anyone perceived to support so-called Democrats, Black Lives Matter, coronavirus safety measures. In June, Tim Hushek, a corporal at the Borough of Lincoln Police Department, posted a screenshot of an Allegheny County 911 dispatcher's Facebook page indicating that the phrase Blue Lives Matter used by law enforcement supporters is not equivalent to the slogan Black Lives Matter because policing is a choice, not a fact of birth. He wrote, "Many negative posts on police, and we should trust her with our lives?" Jesus. Multiple officers should call and report it. Remember, no justice, no peace. West Mifflin Borough Police Department Officer Tommy True responded under his Facebook name, Tommy Bear. The Associated Press was able to view posts and comments from the group, which has 2,200 members, including about a dozen current and former police chiefs, from mainly Allegheny County and some surrounding areas stretching into Ohio, and at least one judge and one councilman. After the AP began asking about the post last week, the group appeared to have been deleted or suspended from view. I mean, come on, coppers, what do you got to hide? In Florida, 3 Polk County deputies arrested after evidence tampering investigation.
We begin with a developing story out of Polk County, where the sheriff's office arrested 3 of their own. It's a first for the department in its history.
Surprise!
Now, former deputies are all accused of tampering with evidence. Fox 13's Jennifer Holton joins us now live from the sheriff's office, where Sheriff Judd spoke about the case today. And Jen, I'm sure he had a lot to say about this.
Yes, it was 30 minutes long, so we're not watching the whole thing.
He came right out and said it, that he is mad beyond words, and he wants the community to know that if he finds out that one of his own have broken the law, they're not only going to lose their job, but they will be taken straight to the Polk County Jail. And 3 of his deputies found this to be very true Friday night. It's a basic principle.
You can't police a community if you don't hold yourself to a higher standard than you expect of the people from the community.
As for 3...
and like, speaking higher standard, I have proposed legislation multiple times. The Higher Standard Act is what I call it. That a member of law enforcement should face double what the mandatory minimum is for a civilian, because they should be held to a higher standard.
Judd's deputies?
These folks forgot.
The Polk County Sheriff's Office arrested deputies John Brzezinski, Jamal Lawson, and Garrett Cook Friday night, moments after they resigned for evidence tampering in a case dating back to last December. Brzezinski and the 2 others were working a traffic stop in which a woman was found with marijuana, controlled substances, and $723.
What they plant on her?
Report, and he processes evidence, and he puts several pieces of evidence into property and evidence. But they don't put any cash into property and evidence. What the 3 of them talk about on the 23rd is, the money's missing.
Fast forward now to March 15th. The woman's charges were reduced and she requested her money back. The report, however, showed no money was documented. But it was a phone call Brzezinski made to the property and evidence officer that kicked off the criminal investigation. Judd saying Brzezinski told P&E he and Lawson were going to, quote, make it right by submitting their own money into evidence to replace it. That officer called her sergeant.
And within 5 days of this being first brought to our attention and us sorting through and talking to the supervisors and the P&E and completing an investigation, on Friday night, we locked all 3 of these deputies up.
All 3 facing charges of conspiracy to commit tampering with evidence. Brzezinski and Lawson are facing further tampering charges. As for what happened to the money?
What theft?
We don't know where the money is. We highly suspect
they spent it.
That one of the 3 of them stole it, that it was never lost. We think that's just a lie along the way.
Obviously. Cops lie constantly.
Investigators that John Rosinski was the last one with the money before it disappeared. The sheriff's office, though, is working with their legal affairs department to reimburse that woman for the $723 that went missing. Not only that, but he plans on auditing these 3 deputies' cases that they dealt with in terms of seizure of property, and if they find any evidence of any criminal conduct in previous...
Especially when their lips move. Especially. Oh. All right, content warning on this next one. We got cops opening fire on someone. This happened in Kentucky during a traffic stop.
So step right back here, man. We'll be just a second, all right? So step right back here for me, my man.
I can't.
What's that?
I can't.
Nice.
Sir, the King of Trolls has been here all along. I run this show. So, all right, they've pulled him over, man. He just pulls the gun right out. Fuck.
So step right back here, man. We'll be just a second, all right? So step right back here for me, my man.
I can't.
What's that?
I can't.
Nice. Get back. Get back.
God damn.
No. How you doing, sir? Hey, listen, my partner's just working on a warning for you back there, okay, for the speed, okay? You just can't be going that fast through here. I got you. Where you heading to, man?
Well, first of all, like, look at the way they treat the white guy. As if he's no threat. If it had been a black guy, they would have automatically treated him as if he was a threat. It was just speeding. Why was the dude... Why? I'm wondering why the motherfucker pulls a gun on him if he's just charged with speeding.
Where's that at?
Manchester.
Oh, okay. I got you. What brings you up here? Oh, where's she live at? Where at? Hamilton. I got you. Just come up for the day, or you drove all the way up here just for the day?
I'm a truck driver.
Oh, okay. Listen, man, you're not hauling anything illegal or anything in here, are you? Nothing illegal in here? No large amounts of anything you're trying to haul or anything like that?
He's certainly got something on him.
I'm supposed to ask you consent to search the vehicle, man. Would you let me search the vehicle real quick? Oh, I mean, just a yes. I got you. Okay. You've had a lot of pretty nervous behavior sitting here talking to me, okay?
I'm nervous?
Yeah, you have.
I don't feel nervous.
Okay. You know what I do?
Don't feel nervous.
I catch drug dealers and drug smugglers, okay? That's what I do for a living, okay? Okay? And I work a K-9, okay? So normally what happens is, you know, I'm not saying you didn't, and I'm not saying you did anything wrong, okay? But a lot of your mannerisms and gestures while you've been sitting here talking to me, okay, I'm trained to read people, okay?
You suck at it, I'm sure.
Okay, I'm just asking. Okay, listen, partner.
This time you might have been right, though. But you probably say that to all the guys you pulled over.
At this point now, I've got enough reason to I'm going to deploy my K-9. I'm going to run my K-9 around your vehicle real quick, okay? Okay, do me a favor and step out for me real quick, okay? Just have you step right back here, okay? Run the dog real quick. Just gonna step right back here, man. We'll be just a second, all right?
So, I mean, clearly he is running drugs or something.
Just step right back here for me, my man.
I can't.
What's that?
I can't.
Nice. Get back. Get back. No.
Sir, you suck. At point blank range, you missed your target.
Bill's 5.
Billy, those 10 shots fired.
It looked like his partner took him down.
Shots fired. Send a squad.
Boy, were you lucky. God damn.
Bill Hills, 525 to the security squad.
Hey! Give me drag you back.
Move anymore.
I'm gonna holster, Sarge.
Hey, grab this horn. Grab that arm.
Grab that arm.
No gun yet.
No gun. Get him in cuffs.
I can't wait to find out exactly what like he had on him.
Get it. Get it.
Get it.
A convicted felon in Kentucky. Okay, well, I mean, he was armed and convicted felon, and right there, he was going back to jail. Convicted felon in Kentucky, apparently hell-bent on not going back to prison, pulled out a gun during a traffic stop and was fatally shot by officers, intense video shows. The footage released Friday by Kenton County Commonwealth's attorney Rob Sanders shows the February 20th police officer-involved shooting that left Randall Lockaby, 57, dead. Lockaby, a convicted felon in Pennsylvania, was getting out of his truck on Interstate 75 when he pulled out a gun and pointed it at Villa Hills officer Sean Dooley. Dooley, man, you're so fucking lucky. God damn it, a breathless Dooley told his partner, "Dude, he about shot me. Dude, he about did." Lockaby of Manchester, Kentucky, was later pronounced dead at the hospital in Florence, the Enquirer reported. This happened in February. The video was released on Friday. Now, you guys like chicken nuggets? I know chicken nuggies are a big thing. But it's no reason to get into an argument and get the cops called on you.
And crime track alert from Bedford County. Argument over chicken nuggets led to a person biting a sheriff's deputy. Times Gazette reports a 23-year-old woman is accused of assaulting her room.
The deputy probably deserves it. Man, my old couch shit out a potato last week. It must be Irish.
At a home on Fay Creek Drive. This is real. Deputies say she screamed and headbutted a patrol car's window. In custody. This is over a chicken nugget. A deputy said that the woman bit him on the arm several times, and she was being taken to a holding
White suburbanites will never care about anything until it affects them themselves. A 23-year-old woman accused of assaulting her girlfriend after an argument over chicken nuggets. That looks like a woman that is very serious about her chicken nuggies. So, I don't blame her. All right, let's bring this one on home.
Pulled from the Barron River in Bowling Green over the weekend.
In Bowling Green, my old stomping grounds. Used to attend Western Kentucky University. Priest, 2 women charged after having sex on a church altar, according to officials. This happened in Pearl River, Louisiana. A priest and 2 women were charged after they had sex on a church altar and filmed the interaction. My apologies that I could not find footage to show you guys. Travis Clark, 37, a former pastor at Saints Peter and Paul Roman. Saints Peter and Paul, isn't that a 60s band that sang pussy protest songs? A former pastor at Saints Peter and Paul Roman Catholic Church was caught videotaping himself having sex with 2 dominatrices on the church's altar in September. I was about to say, this sounds like an old story, because I thought I already talked about this once before. Badass indeed. That's so fucking metal. The St. Tammany District Attorney's Office said Clark and the women, Mindy Lynn Dixon of Washington and Melissa Kamen Ching of Georgia, were charged with institutional vandalism this past Thursday. So the actual charges came down from the grand jury. All 3 knowingly vandalized, defacing, or otherwise damaging property and causing a damage valued at over $500 and under $50,000. Now, what I don't understand is if he was a priest at the church, then those 2 women should not be charged with anything, because I would assume they would think that they had permission, correct? Because he was he speaks for God. He gave them permission. Why are they being charged? He hired them. Hell, Satan, indeed. The three were originally charged with obscenity charges because they could clearly be seen from the street, but those charges were reduced to the lesser counts of vandalism. Good. The altar was removed and burned by the Archdiocese of New Orleans. They had to burn it. Shit, you could have, fucking Christians, you could have auctioned that shit off and... Like, seriously, that would have went for good fucking money. And you put the video on Pornhub and link to the fucking bidding on the altar. I thought the Catholic Church knew what it was doing when it came to business decisions, but obviously fucking not. Archbishop Gregory Aymond consecrated a replacement altar, and Clark was removed from the ministry. His obscene behavior was deplorable. I would say his obscene behavior was nice. His desecration of the altar in church was demonic. I am infuriated by his actions. When the details became clear, we had the altar removed and burned. I love it. That is a fantastic story. There is nothing I can say that can top that.
More time instead of that initial P1 hard point.
So if you are watching on Twitch, I'm going to dump you guys with Ravana. I'll let her babysit. Let her babysit you guys for a little while. So go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We will see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.